on this episode of Zadanza, Zod's not here, so we're going to make sure that Zod never takes a vacation away from this show ever again. We're talking aliens, pyramids, Atlantis, all joined today by my good buddy, Secular Rarity, aka Elliot. It'll be a fun blast, but is it still Zadanza? Oh, greetings, salutations, welcome to Eldanza. Oh, snap. It's happening. There's no Zods to be found here. No, sir. Zod is enjoying a well-deserved vacation for this week and the next. So I put a little logo together in my brief time in Photoshop because your name is Elliot, Secular Rarity, and my name is Dan. So now we're Eldans today. Isn't that great?
I have to say, I think, what you've done here with this branding, this beautiful logo, it really speaks to what this episode will be. I feel like it's kind of going to be a little free flowing, a little silliness, but still striking at the heart of what makes Zadanza so great. Which I mean, personally, I would say Zod. I was kind of hoping he was going to be here today, but you're like top 3 favorite hosts. So you're up there, dude.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I will change it back. I feel bad. I didn't actually ask Zod if he was okay with it.
I did not put him up to it, Zod. Please,
we're already going to be doing some things. Because here's the thing, Elliot. I was like, hey, you want to be on the show? You said, yeah.
Of course.
I asked you what you want to talk about. And you said Christian nationalism. And I was like, that's cool.
It's always fun.
And I know you and I could definitely do it. But here's the thing. Zod and I could do that too.
True.
So I was like, what's something that I can do now that I can't normally do with this program because Zod's not around? And aliens. It's aliens. It has to be.
Yeah. And I gotta say, we both have lots of friends in this space, lots of wonderful people, and a couple of our mutual friends have asked me, to do things like this. I don't know if it's like something about my face or like maybe just like me as a whole, but they always seem to enjoy bringing these types of videos to my attention.
It's because last time I've used the word xenopolitics around you, you lit up like a jack-o'-lantern. You were so excited by that terminology.
It's a great
word. Yeah, so I knew it had to be that. So we're gonna dip our toes into a little bit of that, a little bit of some fun nonsense. But yeah, before we do that, we have a super chat already that happened before the show even started from our home person. I don't assume genders. Okay. Miranda Rensberger, who says, gave $10 and said, I'm back to normal life and can't make the live stream, but I'm excited to watch it later. SR was awesome on the numerology experience last Sunday. I hope spirit science doesn't break him. We'll see. We'll try to break him. But,
hey, at least Miranda, you were optimistic. So here's what I'll tell you, folks. Okay, as the episode goes on, okay, just watch like where my shoulders are. Okay, because we're probably gonna start like up here, and then by the end, it'll probably be like this, and it'll just be like I'll look defeated. I'm just happy to help Zod get some needed rest and take this bullet, I guess.
Take this bullet, please. Yeah. This is what happens when I'm running things around here. So we're gonna get to that. But I didn't forget, Elliot, about the Christian nationalism bit to it. So I told you there's gonna be a little bit of surprises here and there. Your first surprise, I think, is here, which is a little bit of something I got just for you. Another thing that Zod will probably be mad about that I'm doing this. But I checked and I think we're good copyright wise
Okay,
to show at
okay,
least parts of this. So we're
okay.
gonna see. We're gonna do this.
All right,
But
man.
I already have another super chat from Zach who gave $5 and said, "Dear Zevenly Danther." Is it, I guess it should be Donther. That just sounds weird.
Yeah.
I pray to Z that you will bless this stream and all those who watch of it in the name of your Zun Jesus, Dan Men. See, it's weird if I'm reading it because presumably this is a prayer to me and or
Right.
Zod.
Yeah.
I'm Danther in this. I don't know. There's a lot going on with that. But
Yeah.
thank you for the $5, Zach, and shout outs to the Zod Knights who help out with this program.
That's a good name. I didn't know that name. That's a good name. You guys, yeah.
The Zodonites.
Yeah,
Yep.
seriously.
Against my better judgment, I decided that is the official canon name. I think it wasn't super popular. I tried it for like 2 weeks. I did a thing called the Syndex where I literally made an Excel spreadsheet and we wanted to like cover whether things were a sin or not. And
Right.
like definitively. In our religion of Zionism,
Good.
for example, Call of Duty camping
Mm.
or putting the shopping cart back after you use it, stuff like that. And anyway,
for sure.
it was a whole thing. But anyway, that's where that comes from. Yeah, so we're gonna get to some spirit science, folks. If those of you who don't know spirit science, you're in for a treat because spirit science is like old school atheists used to respond a lot to spirit science. By the way, they call themselves spirit verse now as of like a month ago, but I still put spirit science in the title because I think most people probably remember who they are. They're very interesting, have some interesting ideas, but I'm getting too far ahead of myself because I wanted to show you something completely different before we get started on this.
You're warming me up. You're warming me up so that
I am
I'm
warming you up.
more receptive to the spirit side.
Okay. So I don't know if you've seen this. If you have seen this, it isn't as good. But I'm going to show you about 2 minutes of what might be one of the greatest pieces of music that's ever been heard in our time.
Okay.
Now it is Christian nationalist in theme.
Okay.
I'm going to give you one guess about what this song is or about.
Jeez. I don't know. The 2020 election being fraudulent, is that which it wasn't, of course. That's just undeniable, but is that what it's about? Is it
you're around the bullseye? You're kind of there. You're
maybe January 6th? Maybe is it no? Okay.
Well, let's just let's get to it. You ready for this?
I don't know,
right.
but
not that. Yeah, we want this right here. This is Natasha Owens. By the way, everything I'm about to show you is 100% real.
Oh no.
This is not fake. Natasha Owens is a real Christian music artist. We're going to listen to this song. No. It's called The Chosen One.
I'm
Patriot Mobile, baby. Let's do it.
Well, there you go.
Can you hear it?
I do. I'm just bummed out already.
I'm not saying he's something divine.
Yeah.
He gets in trouble bigly time after time. He's controversial, but one thing is true. Imperfect people, a perfect God can use.
All right.
What the?
We're at.
Wow.
It's real. This is real. This is 100%
we didn't even
real.
It was just about to kick in too.
I paused before this fucking chorus. Okay.
Oh my gosh. This is gonna. Oh wow. That was.
Yeah.
There was so much said in just a few words there. Just like he gets in trouble bigly,
He gets in trouble bigly. They showed the mugshot, old mugshot.
What a can I swear on here? I can.
You absolutely can.
What a fucking understatement! Jesus.
This is a worship song. About Donald Trump.
About Donald Trump.
We have gone full circle. Okay, full fucking circle. This blew up about a week ago, And when you first saw the video, there were a lot of positive comments. Now when I look at it today, there's definitely more people like ragging on it. But it's fucking real. This is I thought it's so on the nose, but it's not. Natasha Owens is a real Christian music artist who has a history of making Christian music.
Right.
And as far as I know, this is her genuine political beliefs and also genuine music. So
can I just ask real quick? I don't know if you're planning on torturing me more with this or what.
We're watching all of it.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. No, I'm here. Great. I'm here for it. Love it. Just really thrilled about my decision to be on the show. When she says the chosen one,
you want to go back? You want to hear from the beginning again? You want to start over now?
No.
Oh, that's what I'm hearing. I think you want to start over from the very beginning. I think maybe we should go ahead and do that. You know what? Let's turn on captions. Let's turn on closed captions so everybody can see.
Yes.
What we got going on here?
Oh my god.
I'm not saying he's something divine.
Okay.
He gets in trouble bigly time after time. He's controversial, but one thing is true. Imperfect people, a perfect God can use. I'm standing with the chosen one.
Wow, they're serious. They're literally.
Oh my God. He's only human.
Okay.
Like you and me.
So what is that?
Somebody had to do it.
So
this is real. This is real. This is real. This is not a parody. I have to emphasize this now. This is a real song.
You know, when people talk about the feeling of their skin crawling, it's one of those things I feel like if it hasn't happened to you, like for real in a while, you kind of think, well, that's a silly way to describe that feeling. And then something like this just smacks you in the gut so hard. And it's just like for a moment, like I'm nauseous just slightly right now, you know, like there's this weird sensation that just makes me kind of want to like leave. It's just like everywhere. It's not even like anyway, I don't like this.
There's a lot to unpack. First of all, like there's a lot of people that point out in the comments, oh, this is idolatry and stuff, right? So there's like Christians who are okay, like that's your fucking problem. Yeah, sure, it's idolatry. How about we made a worship song about our president? Okay. But anyway, they like the thing about like legit conservative Christian like Trump people, right, is that they know Trump is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Like they know he's kind of stupid and does stupid shit. Even in the worship song, they have to be like, he's not perfect. He does some stuff, and like they're taking the Bigley line and stuff. Like they think he's funny. Like they genuinely have this sort of like, I'd have a drink with him at the bar kind of mentality instead of he's the like, goddamn president of was the goddamn president of the United States.
I don't. Part of me just, and I think I'm being charitable when I'm saying this, okay? Because if it's not this, the other main hypothesis for me is that people are just fucking idiots, right? So I don't want to go there. Like I want to try to be kind, and I want to say that for many, I don't think they recognize the importance of some of the things that he says and does. I genuinely believe like it's the person that's just like, oh, I just vote for the president that's the most entertaining. And I'm like, what is entertaining about, I don't know, just like mass death? Is like that fun for you? Like, do you just enjoy just knowing that people's lives are shit now?
They don't think about that. They think about owning the libs.
That's
and
right.
They think about,
we do deserve it, Dan. We ask for it a lot by, really trying to push crazy things like
the thing is like Reagan never got this. Right? Reagan never got this. The Bushes never got this. Nobody has gotten this kind of treatment before. As far as I know, like pretty much ever. Besides like random one-off people being weirdos, right? This is like I don't want to say mainstream Christian artist, but a real one, like one works with a studio, has a career and is able to make something like this. It is bizarre that there's a market for this and people will like it and unironically enjoy it.
Yeah. Like play it on a loop as they drive through town with
him saying, I am the chosen one. That's it's like there's something self-effacing about that where you kind of know Trump's just kind of a, you know, I don't know.
It just he's smelled his own farts so much that he's just gotten high off the fumes, you know, and now he's just like, yes, I am that amazing. And it's like, no, you're just a sad old man farting in a box alone, you know. But
it's true, but not alone. Oh, he's got so
many wonderful he's got live streaming to millions.
M68 Ken gave $4.99. Thank you for that. It said, did you guys ever hear that song where Michael Flynn sings on auto-tune? Fucking hilarious. No, I haven't. Is it about him being the general of Q? I would love to listen to that. If you have a link or can send it somehow and tell me what to look up, maybe we can get to that. I don't know. It's weird about doing songs. So this person is given permission to play this and stuff, and so that's why I've seen other people react to it and stuff, which is why I'm playing it here. It's usually hard with music and stuff.
Right.
They definitely want this video to go out there. Punk Metal Tao gave $2 and said, I'd also like to be kind very bigly. Yeah, it's true. That's what I mean. Like they I don't know. There is a weird chumminess that they have with this guy that they've never met. But anyway, let's keep watching, huh?
Yeah, sure.
This great nation is under attack. And its real leader has arrows in his back. So many greet him with Judas kiss. But God gave us a warrior for such a time as this. I'm standing with the chosen one.
Are they? Was she saying that like these other politicians are like they showed politicians. I'm not sure that I get.
They're talking about like Mitch McConnell and stuff,
and they said greeting him with Judas's kiss.
Yeah, because Mitch McConnell, like, you know, denounced Trump, and a bunch of basically everybody on screen there, like, this was like, hey, maybe Trump has gone too far, actually.
So they betrayed him,
right?
Like Judas betrayed Jesus.
Correct. Yes.
We're not very far into this episode,
metaphor is
Dan.
strong,
I'm having a bad time.
Can you imagine singing this in church, by the way?
I have no idea. No, I couldn't imagine singing this in church. I could not imagine ever when I was a Christian going to church regularly. I couldn't ever have imagined the preacher like getting up there and just spouting off about the government any which way. Honestly, like that is just such a radically foreign concept to me, man. And so
but they're out there. I mean, this exists, right?
Yeah, I successfully went a few years without knowing about it, but
and obviously people are sharing this because it's kind of a meme, but this has over, how many views does this have? 224,000 views.
That's really impressive. You
know,
yeah.
So
anything above like her close family and friends.
Someone said, what's with the Photoshop teeth? Rewind that back. I don't know. I don't know if I can rewind it back at this point. We already did it once.
We gotta keep going. We gotta finish this.
He's only human like you and me, just a chosen one, the chosen one.
Look at the flames.
Brothers and sisters, lay down your stones. There's only one God and he's still on the throne.
Oh, man, you know that was a reference.
Standing with the chosen one.
Man. Oh my God.
Can we? So
I hate this.
I think Natasha Owens, from what I can see, is a sincere Christian.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when you say the lyric, there's only one God and he's still on the throne, I truly mean in that moment, she does mean like God,
right?
Not like Trump God.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
the juxtaposition there, like, come
really
on.
Upsetting. Yeah, it's Yeah.
I want to say it's subconscious if it wasn't so deliberate. That's like my first reaction to this was this isn't real. This is somebody,
Yeah.
you know, faking this, because I just can't believe how on the nose
Yeah.
this really is, right?
Right, because it does. It feels almost like something that you would make as a joke, like making fun of like really passionate believers, you know?
Sal Will said this one for all the white Christian nationalists out there. That's right.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Shout outs,
Yeah.
you know?
For all those true Americans who think the Constitution is just too fucking liberal now.
That's right.
Like, oh my god.
That's right. Yeah, it's not. It's
Very,
something.
it's bad. It's uncomfortable. I just
Christian nationalism is real, by the way.
It is. Yeah, sure is.
In case you don't believe it, it's definitely a thing.
The Lord's begun. He's only human like you and me. Just a tool.
That's my. I'm sorry. I am gonna go back because
He's
I
only
got paused
human like you and me.
right there. Remember this? Remember this?
Yeah, that one
This
was
is this,
great.
this is my legitimately top 5, top 3 favorite moments of the Trump presidency was this right here. If you don't recall, this was the fucking, what was it, some high school team like
no, it was like the NCAA championships or something. It was
no, it wasn't NCAA. I thought it was like high school kids, right?
Well, it was a big like sports championship that had just been won. Like it was a bunch of athletes.
I think it was a football high school thing.
Okay,
and
maybe
they brought a bunch of kids to the White House to eat McDonald's. And this was them serving the McDonald's in like this golden, like gaudy golden room that it's just
what
like
an
Trump
absurd.
Tower.
What an absolutely absurd. And you know, this is what kills me about it.
Yeah.
It's like he's looking at this situation thinking, this is great. Like, I just bought a shit ton of McDonald's for these people.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they be thrilled? And it's like, wow, dude. Wow. I don't even know where to begin to explain on how upsetting this is.
I might have showed this picture again on this stream because I love this picture so much. Wait, hold on. I gotta show it again. It's right here. I got it up.
Where he's like,
hold on. There it is. There it is.
Yes,
He's got the hands.
Yes.
It's so good. Fucking Abraham. Oh no, New Yorker. I'm sorry. Abraham Lincoln behind him. This is why this picture goes fucking hard. Abraham Lincoln behind him.
Yeah.
They got the fucking McDonald's salads in there in case you want a salad option.
And like, look at this is what's so ridiculous too is the juxtaposition of the like shit poor, barely held together cardboard, you know, soaked in grease and shit on these like really nice dishware. Like this really
this is
pretty
the best use of American tax dollars that has ever been done for this country. It's awesome. It's so cool. How can you not love this guy?
I don't know. I just think of another great, you know, true patriot song that is near and dear to my heart of just being proud to be an American.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And
at least
it
you know you're
does.
free.
Yeah, it rings true. It rings
It's awesome.
true.
It's so good. Another song, by the way, played at Trump rallies.
Yes,
unironically.
Yes,
you can't write this. You can't write this.
It does.
It was awesome. So what a time! What a time that president. The beginning of years of the presidency, there was an absurdity to it that was just.
It was like we were in a dream. It was. It was like we were in a dream.
Twitter was really funny.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I don't know. It's not those days anymore.
Just a chosen one. The chosen one.
The chosen one.
He stands for me. He stands for you.
Yeah.
He stands
I really
for
hate
you.
every second of this,
He
man.
stands for you. Trump is the chosen one.
Oh my god. Okay. Now
this came out, by the way, because of the indictments.
Yeah.
Hi, we're visible.
No, stop. This came out because of you know, the trials and shit.
Yeah.
a few weeks ago. So this person was someone was so impassioned by this that she released this about him, I guess.
Do you feel like I know you don't have the answer, but do you feel like this was a concept she had been like playing around with in her head for a while, and then just when the indictments and the the guilty verdict and stuff came out, she was just like, fuck it, let's just put it all let's finish it up, finalize it, tie the bow on it, put it? Or do you think like the night before she just like rolled over and was like, yeah, fuck it, let's write this song real quick? Because honestly, I could see the second one. I could see it being like a 24-hour process from beginning thought to.
Well, you had to pay somebody to make that music video.
Right.
And that doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
That's days, if not weeks of work right there.
At least 24.
Compiling all those images, making sure you've got copyright. And then, of course, there's studio recording. You got to pay time for that. You got to pay somebody to mix it for you. You got to pay somebody to publish.
Feel worse about this, because then it's like she did actually put effort into this. This was a project.
Maybe, yeah, it could have been when the shit was first starting, and then they were like, okay, either way, this entire this will either
after the verdict,
or this will be a rallying cry.
Right.
I have to believe there's some level of cynicism, because if first of all, if you work in the music industry, there has to be some level of cynicism.
Yeah, it's probably true.
For at least some part of it. Maybe not the artists themselves, but like, if you're a studio and you're putting out this garbage, right? You're looking for a return on your investment. So obviously, there's a market for this. Otherwise, or at least they believe there was a market for this. Otherwise, it wouldn't be out there in the first place. But I don't know. I don't know.
Well, now that we got through it and I got to say all my things about, some other aspects of it, I do just want to point out too that I think the actual just music itself is like, what would you say? It's not a poor man's it's not a poor man's attempt at country. It's like I don't know, maybe like a child's first attempt at country music. So just like musically too. I just didn't want to, I didn't want people to think that we weren't gonna just rag on the other aspects of how crap the song is. Like, it's not just what the song is. It's not just the message, you guys. The actual chord progression of the song itself, I think, is shit. So,
well, it's a Christian worship.
yeah, it's never.
Song. I mean,
that's right. It's never gonna be
a given.
Yeah,
in some respects.
That's fair. That's fair.
But no, I mean, like, and again, I think most reasonable Christians would point this out and say this is messed up. I don't think the average American thinks this is okay. I think it is like the real MAGA people who would be into something like that. But
I'm glad it's still fringe. Like,
yeah, as much as 200,000 people could be fringe.
Yeah, fringe-ish.
That's just how the word got out there.
I really hope that a good portion of those views are stuff like this, though. Is that? I don't know. I don't want to
imagine. Because it kind of blew up as a React thing.
Okay, I just
why we're here.
I don't want to think that we're that crap in this country. Like, I just don't want to have that feeling. I know.
I have bad news for you.
I know. I'm clinging desperately to any shred of hope, but it's fading. It's fading fast, Dan. Yeah.
I don't think this song would have been released in the first place if there wasn't something broken or wrong with this country. Hey, we want to talk about how aliens help build the pyramids?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's keep going.
You see what he did? I told you guys. He warmed me up, and he comes in with this 1-2 punch here. He's like, yeah, so check out this song about Trump. And
1-2 punch Dan, that's what they call me. So we're switching gears a little bit. We're talking about spirit science. As some of you guys are be like, oh, maybe I've heard of this. You're gonna see the art style of this, and
it was the voice for me. I remembered that voice
because he has this thing where he kind of pitches up his voice, and I think speeds it up a little bit. But it's very particular. I remember being younger and watching this and being like, whoa, this is weird. But somebody changed their life because of this video. This video in particular actually has 5.1 million views. And we'll see what deal, I guess, in a second, because Oh boy, it's something. You ready for this?
I am. I think now with the warm up, I think I am prepared because yeah, this stuff actually surprisingly it will make you feel worse than the Trump music video did. So.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
This one's called Spirit Science 12, the Human History Movie. This is on sort of a playlist called the Spirit Science, the Sacred Timeline. This is number 12 out of 16, although he has way other videos in it. I don't think these are all necessarily in a particular order, but this one is by far, by the way, this is an hour long. We're not going to watch all of it, but we're going to get a little taste at the very beginning here and see what we're getting. Let's just dive right in. Let's just go for it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready.
Over the last few thousand years, we have warped our own history. Our stories of the past have been changed, altered, mistranslated, and completely been misunderstood as we rounded the curve on the precession of the equinox. Modern views of our history account for many things, but completely dismiss many very important pieces in the puzzle. For example, the pyramids of Giza. There is no modern theory that accounts for how these could have been made. Individually, each block cannot be pulled even with 50 men pulling it, let alone drag it for hundreds of miles and then stack them on top of each other 450 feet in the air.
All right, so already 30 seconds in, we're wrong.
Right, that's what I was thinking. That's why I started laughing, is because it's like 15 seconds, and he's like, all this shit was going on as we were traveling around our procession on the equinox, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
In case you're curious, one of the most popular theories and consensus is that they basically wet the sand in front of them to move the blocks. And to be fair, I'm not sure if that was consensus at the time of this video. This video is 12 years old now.
True.
And I think that's more of a modern idea, but there's also been other ideas that have been proposed. It's not like people weren't thinking about, answers to these questions.
Absolutely. And we really do a disservice by thinking like, from our modern perspective, guys, there wasn't shit else to do. And there were a lot of slaves. Like, you don't really get the choice in that situation, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're just gonna pull a big block for however long that takes.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of them took decades. Most of them were finished after the people had been mummified for years. So
I also like, if it was really aliens and shit, why not? Why stones? It could have been anything else.
Crystals.
I don't know.
You would have thought it would have been like crystals or comets. I don't know.
Cool.
Figured something.
Anyway, now I am going to choose select points to pause, but we won't be able to pause at every single misfact in this video because we will be here all day. But I will try my best to at least cover some big groundwork stuff.
I'll hold my tongue. I'll hold my tongue for as much,
Actually,
I'll try
the whole
to keep
point of this video, actually, Elliot, is for you to react.
Just to see me upset. Okay, all right. Then.
Yeah,
well,
please don't.
I
do
will.
That.
Yeah, I will. Right. I'll say it
in such a precise way that even modern technology can't achieve. Not to mention having it lined up precisely with both Orion's belt, a golden mean, and Fibonacci spiral, and be a primary nodal point of every sacred site on the planet.
That comes out of nowhere. That shit is just wild.
We're going. I'm not speeding this up. This is the pace at which this video is. I almost want to slow it down, honestly. But yeah, we're already talking about Fibonacci sequences, and we're talking about Orion. First of all, it does not line up with fucking Orion's belt. Everybody keeps saying it doesn't.
It's not.
And the Fibonacci sequence, if you can fuck with the Fibonacci sequence in Photoshop in a million different ways to make like anything kind of fit on it.
Yes.
The specific claim for this is that they try to make it as the numbers mathematically line up between how wide it is to the height, but they're taking like the base height versus like the height that it would actually be, like, because it's a slanted, like fucking pyramid is different. So it doesn't really match up. Anyway, I looked way too much into what's obviously bullshit. But don't ask me about fucking sacred nodal points.
Yeah,
okay, I don't know where to look for
that. I love, because it's like the first couple of things are actually like they're fairly well like known and talked about.
Well, at least the Fibonacci sequence is like a thing. I don't know what the fuck sacred nodal points.
No, it's just complete made up bullshit.
I think I read about that in fucking Artemis Fowl when I was a kid. You remember that? I think that was the thing. I think that was a plot point in that book.
But I think like that's the way. That's how you get your nonsense out there. Is you start off by saying like, yeah, everybody knows about this. Like like cows, you know, like everybody knows about cows. Everybody knows about chickens. Everybody knows about sacred nodal points that align with your chakras. It's just like put the crazy thing in the middle of all the other shit. Nobody will notice.
So again, this is a video I watched when I was younger because it's a cartoon, and like animated videos, especially at this time in YouTube, early 2010s, did really well back then, because it's hard to make animated stuff, and there wasn't as much stuff out there that wasn't copyrighted, right? Original stuff for YouTube was not as common, and so that stuff, like a lot of the good stuff, tended to shoot to the top. And he makes a lot of videos about some of this stuff. So like he's got multiple audiences here. It's literal children who are like, "Ooh, this is a cartoon." You got the conspiracy theory folks, you got the ancient alien folks. Like he's covering a lot of ground here. In a way, this was like, I don't know, this was hitting on some shit back in the day. Still posting, by the way, again, but like not nearly as many views as some of these other videos. But yeah, look, we need to keep going because we're just scratching the surface. Okay.
And that's just one example. Our history is not what we think. Many things that we've been led to believe to be true simply is not. This has got to be the biggest. The field of archaeology recently saw some monumental discoveries that are rocking the foundation.
I like how Area 51 was on there.
I know. It's like, and it's like, what are you talking about? What's the biggest?
Well, we were talking about pyramids and then Area 51.
It's just right there. It's like, fuck it. Total, obviously.
You know where this is going.
I do.
I think we know about ourselves. Many ancient cities such as Babylon, Erech, and Akkad that were written about in the Bible and other ancient texts were always thought to be myths because no one could prove they existed.
But that's just...
First of all, again, nobody thought Babylon wasn't real.
It was, yeah, everybody is confident the Babylonian Empire was a thing.
Yeah. It's like Babylon, like the Garden of Babylon and shit, right? And like Solomon's temple and all that bullshit.
Yes.
Like, that's the part where it's like, but like, no, Babylon was like probably real. Well, is real. I should say it's not probably. Like that's, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely historical. Like nobody was running around saying like, oh, all of these fucking cities are just myths. And then like recently in the last like 20 years, somebody went out and dug up some fucking rock and was like, oh my God, it's all true now. Like it actually is the exact opposite. If you go listen to a lot of people that do archaeology today, they will explicitly talk about when the field started many years ago, right? Way back in the early days, the phrase was a Bible in one hand and a pickaxe in the other. They were they were purposefully going out to confirm the Bible. Yeah. So like they definitely did not think it was all myths. Like
no, at least not at first. But and Jordan, this guy, I think has only read like one history book, or at least appears to have only read one, because we're gonna talk about like where a lot of this is coming from when it comes up. But yeah, I don't know if he knows the consensus on a lot of this stuff. And I just want to point out, we're already just a minute in, and we've had to spend so much time. So somebody pointed out too,
it's a frustrating video.
He's a master of Gish Galop here. This is another thing. Like it just so many claims being made in this video. But let's keep going.
Then one of them was found. This led to finding another, and then another. Inside one of these cities, archaeologists found thousands of cylindrical clay tablets hidden deep within the earth under this ancient city. The tablets were completely covered in text, written in cuneiform, and tell an ancient story that spans back over hundreds of thousands of years on this planet, describing the history of the Earth and the origins of the human race in great detail. Now, the first thing we all want to do...
Yeah, did you have something to say on that?
Just the picture of the cute little baby Earth with the pacifier in its mouth, you know, that was just adorable. That's all. I mean, that makes me happy. This is all still shit, but...
Yeah.
That's nice.
You may be wondering, what are these tablets he's talking about?
Yeah,
what do you mean spanning all of human history? We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Do is just say that they were making things up. They didn't know the history of Earth, and they were simply creating tales to explain where they came from. However, if this was true, how can we explain how they knew so many things about the universe that would seem impossible to know? Not only did the Dogons know all about the distant planets in the solar system, but so did the...
Who are
the Dogons? Where do they come from?
Yeah,
it's like out of nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, don't you know about the flippity flarps? And it's like, no, I fucking don't.
Well, okay. Well, the Dogons are a real people group. That's a real ethnic group.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's nice. He was dressed like a fucking wizard there, so I didn't think I thought it was just completely made up.
The Dogon. So okay, all right. So I'll talk about this. So the Dogons are a people group in Mali, and the reason why they get brought up in conspiracy circles is because they allegedly have advanced knowledge of stars and like planetary bodies in the universe. So allegedly a guy in the early a guy in the early 20th century who was like kind of an ethnographer went out to study these groups, and supposedly he was shared stories about how there was like I believe it was Sirius. Wait, hold on. Now I got to Google this. I got to remember so I'm not like
I'm
getting
looking
stuff
this up
wrong
too.
here. Was it Sirius? One of the or maybe it was here we go. Okay, yeah. So there was here we go. Marcel Graul claimed that the Dogon traditional religion incorporates details about extrasolar astronomical bodies that could not have been discerned from naked eye observation. The idea has entered the New Age and ancient astronaut literature as evidence that extraterrestrial aliens visited Mali in the distant past. Other authors have argued that previous 20th century European visitors to the Dogon are much more plausible source of information. So yeah, it is Sirius. Okay, so yeah, Sirius basically they said that the brightest star in the night sky, Sirius, has 2 companion stars. Because it's part of a star system out there. And they were saying, well, how did they know that? Because you wouldn't be able to know that unless you have like telescopes.
But
they
could have just guessed.
Well, they say the Dogon people say that they were given this information through like ancient sources. Right. That's a claim that has been made by people there. But again, like, there's doubts as to whether that's actually true or not. It's not like there's not a written culture that corresponds with that. It's oral tradition. So it kind of can be kind of misconstrued. But yeah, you see how much fucking digging you have to go to like get the truth on a lot of things.
Right.
But
anyway, why did they have, I don't know, maybe they weren't trying to say this, maybe this wasn't the reason that they put this picture up, but like when they said like the Dogons had all this astronomical knowledge, like the picture that they had on screen basically looked like some fucking wizard sitting on a log talking to people. Like, why would you do that? This is like it's a real people group.
Oh well, that's I think that's what. Wait, hold on, let me go back because that might actually
be impossible to know. Not only did the Dogons.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fucked up. Actually, that's what
I'm saying. that's fucking weird. Is that like maybe he's not
Gray fucking advising these people here?
Maybe he's not trying to make that connection, but that is exactly what came to my mind.
Wait, you're so right.
I started laughing.
Why did that slip my fucking brain? I didn't even think about that. That's really fucked. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, like obviously you don't even know what he's talking. Like no, if you don't have a background, like it's just there's a million fucking things that are being happening here. But unfortunately, fortunately, I should say, a lot of ancient alien types, they tend to draw from similar wells. So that's what he's talking about here. But again, it's very brief in a sea of bullshit.
Know all about the distant planets in the solar system, but so did the Sumerians. They described them all in great detail in these Sumerian records. They also knew about the precession of the equinox. That's a tough one for a historian to understand, because it takes over 2,000 years of continuous observation to actually learn that the Earth has a wobble.
Yeah, they didn't really know about that's like...
Yeah, they didn't.
It's alleged.
A, but also like B, if you have a strong oral tradition and you continually pass down stories and your civilization has been around for, let's just say, hypothetically, thousands of years, right? We know human beings have existed for, multiple hundreds of thousands. So like, I don't know. Don't you think eventually the story could coalesce to a point where people have been telling shit for so long, they're like, yeah, it just kind of wobbles a bit sometimes. Sometimes the star's there, sometimes I don't know. It just doesn't feel that special to me. It just seems more mundane than anything.
But... Well, because so the specific claim is that you have to have a long enough time period to even observe the equinox with the naked eye. Okay, so that's what the ancient alien people claim, because we can't actually. It's so the wobble of the Earth is so minute that it's pretty much impossible to tell just from like bare tools.
Sure,
we use other kinds of things to figure that out. The problem is that the Sumerians have never actually said there's an equinox. This is people like extrapolating sources and saying that they do. They know more than what they actually claim. And also the Sumerians, like many ancient people groups, right, say, oh, we come from a group that is like 10,000 years old or whatever, you know, like they're one of those kinds of groups that like say they have a huge lineage, where it's like, oh, that's not true. Like the Jewish people say the same thing. They say they're God's chosen people, when a lot of modern scholarship will say, oh, actually they're part of they're a Semitic tribe within another group of Semitic tribes.
They were just one of many of these groups, and they just happen to be, you know, the ones that stay.
So yeah, there's a lot to be said.
All right.
Sumerians had this information from day one of their civilization.
Day one.
A man named Zachariah Sitchin spent a long time transcribing these texts and had put them all together in his books. But many others have also done the same, and the interpretations are always very similar.
Yep. Okay, so now we get to the heart. So whenever I said, you know, I think this guy read like one history book and then didn't read anything else. He read Zachariah Sitchin. Okay.
Okay. Tell me about this guy.
You know who Zachariah Sitchin is?
I do not.
Remember Nibiru?
That sounds familiar.
You know about Nibiru?
Why does that sound familiar? Yeah.
Well, so Nibiru is a planet that is an extraterrestrial, well, you know, like dwarf planet object that exists outside of you know, it's like kind of in Pluto space, right? And allegedly ancient aliens came from Nibiru to the Sumerian people, and passed on all their knowledge from this planet, and that's how we know that they are real, because the Sumerians told us, and it's all from this book. And that's pretty much where a lot of this guy's information comes from. Yeah,
I have lots of questions, but why would they do that? Like, let's just assume, let's assume that, okay, like
Nibiru's not real, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't. What?
Let me make that clear.
Yeah. Wouldn't think it so. So yeah, let's just say, like, let's assume, okay, the planet is a thing, and the people there are real. Why would they do this? I don't understand. What's their purpose? Why would they just traveled across the fucking universe just so that they could meet up with some people and be like, here's some shit about math and stars? I don't get it.
There is a reason for that, and it's because they not only were there to tell about where history came before, but also there is a cataclysm that's associated with Nibiru, and so there is a doomsday.
There's something we got to prepare for. Yeah, duh, of course we need to all get ready and follow the cult crazy shit. Okay,
yeah, several people have interspliced Nibiru into sort of their end day stuff. Some of it has been linked with the Mayan calendar stuff. So 2012, some 2012 people were saying, oh, it's the cataclysm of Nibiru, right? Some people, you know, suggested other dates. But again, like, this is when you're in the sort of new age spirit science realm, you can just kind of pick and choose.
It just all works.
Sources.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. It just, any of it can be fit together in a way where it makes a cohesive story, at least enough for the person at the end to just be like, all right, I'm hooked.
Yeah. So basically, in short, Zachariah Sitchin's not an archaeologist, a guy with an economics degree, decided he was going to translate ancient Sumerian texts and write a book about it, and interpreted the Anunnaki, which is the deities of the Sumerian religion, as ancient aliens that gave people information about their past and stuff. Also talked about like nuclear war and stuff that happened, which is kind of interesting.
All the way back then.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to that a little bit actually in the video. I'm really, because, like, again, I could talk about this shit all day because I'm fascinated by this shit, but like, how much? We're only 2 minutes in. How much can we stop to really talk about it before we can just have to say, fuck, I'm just gonna enjoy the ride?
I don't know. If you are set, if you are like, man, look, we're just gonna stay here and finish every second of this, I will keep as quiet as possible, but I know
we won't have time. There's no way.
Right. There's no way.
I was hoping we get the 10 minutes max.
We can definitely okay. I'll be good for a little bit. We can definitely get to 10
weird.
minutes.
It gets worse if you can believe it.
It's crazy. So from the beginning,
it gets better.
Okay.
It gets better. You ready for this? Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Not only that, but Thoth has also shared information about this with us, and his account matches the Sumerian
Thoth.
records. Adamus
Fucking
and other
Christ.
channelings discuss it as well. If you see all of these records and sources, there is a huge connection between the stories.
So I just want to point out what just happened there in the last 5 seconds. Do you understand what just happened?
Not really.
He just said
Unfortunately.
Thoth, an ancient, I believe Egypt. Wait,
I'm
Thoth's
pretty
Egyptian,
sure.
Right? Wait,
Yeah.
Yep, Egypt. Thoth.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to go back. We need to go. Okay, so there's an English channeler,
Right.
by the name of fuck. Wait, now I gotta look his shit up
Adamus?
too. Is it Charlie Toth? Yeah, Charlie Toth, who claims that he has channeled specific things in the past, but specifically the god Thoth, and has supposedly revealed some of these truths from Thoth, and Jordan has now just cited that in the last 5 seconds. That's what's happening here. We're now the sources now. Okay,
right.
A book by some guy with an economics degree from New York,
Mhm.
translating Sumerian texts,
Mm-hmm.
and an English guy
Mm-hmm.
who thinks he's channeled the spirit of an ancient
Right.
Egyptian.
Would you say, in your opinion, Dan,
Yeah.
that you find those two sources as highly credible, or like maybe not so much?
Well, to be my college thesis using the same sources, I think. So I would say, yeah, to be fair.
Okay.
I never wrote a thesis, actually. No way I said that.
You're saying you were not given a PhD based on these?
No, I don't think you should cite fucking channelers as primary sources for anything, let alone ancient history.
Right, that's what's so good. It's like this guy is saying, like, I'm not actually even getting it like from some random dickhead. I'm getting it from the random dickhead whose spirit is inhabiting the body of this random dickhead. Like, it's bad. It's okay. Keep play it. I wanna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I don't think. Wait, I can't remember his name now. I think I got that wrong. I think I said his name was something else. I'm drawing.
The channeler guy.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't write a note about it. I forgot to put that down. But that's a thing. He's an English channeler guy who says some other bullshit too. By the way, he also says he's able to contact Pleiadians and stuff, which is, the light beings, aliens and stuff.
Do
that
you
currently
think
exist.
do you think, like, if you and I just sincerely started saying that bullshit to people, they'd believe us? Like, I mean, I couldn't do it. I know you have too much of an ethical compass too, but like, do you think if we just started actively making shit up literally like this and was just like, I was contacted?
You have to be in connections. You have to have these people run in circles. They don't just a lot of times they don't just come out of the blue. We
got to know the people.
Yeah, you start in one bookshop, you go to some events, you get your name around. I think that's how this stuff kind of works.
Shoot. All right, maybe 20 years from now. Damn.
Yeah, if we build enough connections in that world, maybe I'd be down.
I'll start working tomorrow. I'll call you.
Ali Ashana Silverbow gave $5 and said, "If I give money, will you be able to cover more of the video?" Damn. I think that's a call out. So maybe we should
can
keep
shut
going.
up.
And we'll keep going. Let's go ahead.
Now, this story spans back hundreds of thousands of years into our past. It talks about Tiamat and Nibiru, the Nephilim, seeding the human race, Adam and Eve, and the
Nephilim. We love our Nephilim. Also, Lemuria. Lemuria is also really awesome. We're talking about that.
children of Lemuria. This portion of the story is really interesting, but not the most crucial to know.
Yeah.
We're not going to be covering this at this time.
Oh, sure.
We are, however, going to be picking up the story at the end of Lemuria and discussing the events of Atlantis up to present day.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Let me just, the way
We're
that he
gonna pick
lays
up
that
after
out.
Atlantis. In case you guys are lost, we're gonna talk about
Yeah,
Atlantis
it's like,
real quick.
it's not like super important about Lemuria and whatever, but like, we're just gonna pick up right at the end of their story. It's like,
you guys know. Yeah, you guys know. You guys know.
Holy Jesus.
Yeah, let's keep going.
What I'm going to tell you is a mix of what these records say, along with what Thoth has told us for some finer details.
Again, a guy channeling Thoth.
A guy, right.
A guy channeling Thoth.
Nobody talks.
Please have your own experience while watching this. I'm not going to tell you that this is fact. I am simply saying, Decide for yourself.
Yeah, that's such a cop-out by every jackass who doesn't want to be held accountable for the garbage that they're saying.
I'm not saying you have to believe it, but this is the entirety of human history, and I'm about to tell you the facts on this.
Exactly. It's like, I'm not saying you can, save the life of some child right now, but if you send me $40, you decide. You decide what you want to do. You make the choice. Do you want to be a good person and save this child's life, or do you want to be a heartless bastard? It's you decide. I'm not, I'm not responsible for.
I do want to point out we are at the opening title finally of this video.
This.
Yeah, we
hate this. It is good animation though.
Yeah.
You gotta give them that.
Sure, it's mostly like little stills and stuff, but like, you know, it's not terrible.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's fine. It's fine.
I would be the guy with the pincers, by the way.
You be pincer guy. Tag yourself. Tag
yeah.
yourself. I'm Beak Man. Big Beak Man.
Big Beak Man.
Yeah. Find yourself, guys. When you watch this video, find somebody in the video and tag yourself as that guy in the comments, please. And tell me who you are.
Yes,
thank you.
Please. Who's those?
Down just a bit.
Oh my god.
There was a time long ago when humans existed at a very high level of consciousness. We were interdimensional and were very psychic. We communicated through thought and emotion, much like how animals do, rather than speaking or writing, which would seem very primitive. We lived primarily on a large string of islands called Lemuria, but there was
you know how animals communicate psychically.
Oh, I see it all the time.
You know,
like those birds that sing to each other with their thoughts, or those cats that like meow towards each other again with their fucking thoughts. Yeah.
That was the thing.
It was a consciousness shift. We moved up in consciousness, and the islands of Lemuria sank beneath the oceans. At the time of this shift, a new continent rose out of the waters. We called it Atlantis.
See,
back in the early 1900s, the spiritual
that's just not how that works, right? Like that's just not like it. Like islands don't just sink into the fucking ocean, man. Like they're attached to something, and you can't just have new. It doesn't matter.
Well, no, it's because we changed consciousness.
That's.
It will explain this a little bit, but like, so there's this idea of like rainbow consciousness a little bit, right? And like your level of consciousness can determine your existence within dimensions. So that's going to play a part.
That seems right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Have I broken your soul? Have I broken your spirit? You're talking about those slump shoulders, guys. How's those shoulders looking?
I'm really thinking about everything else I could be doing now. Like I stubbed my toe yesterday just walking around my house barefoot, and like I really wasn't paying attention, rounded a corner and just kicked the shit out of it. I mean, it hurt for so long, and I'm just thinking fondly back on those memories now.
Yeah. Well, let's keep going.
Keep going.
It's similar to what's happening today.
Oh yeah. Okay. I also let me see if you caught that. We called it Atlantis back in the 1900s.
Back in the early 1900s, the spiritual path of the United States was similar to what's happening today.
The spiritual path of the United States in the 1900s is what's happening today. Okay, just making sure you caught that.
People began to learn about meditation and study ancient lands like Atlantis and Lemuria. We actually found evidence that
exactly
Lemuria
what happened.
No, we found evidence that Lemuria existed.
Oh, in the early 1900s. Shit, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You got to pay attention to this because it's fucking quick, dude.
Okay.
We're dropping facts. You understand?
So in the middle of like what, World War I, we're just discovering Atlantis and Lemuria.
Where Lemuria at?
Yeah. All right.
It said new phone, who dis, and then we forgot, dude.
Millions of people killing each other. What? Who cares?
No, dude.
Consciousness.
Let's go find some submerged fucking continents.
He's holding a picture of just random fucking coral, by the way. Like nothing about that indicates
the coral sea. Okay, he's gonna explain these.
It had to do with coral. See, the ocean floor does rise and fall. Coral can exist up to 150 feet under the surface of the water. In 1910, the surface of the ocean was probably higher because they were able to see coral rings heading away from Easter Islands for a great distance. These rings were estimated to be found at 1,800 feet, which means that for them to have existed, they would have had to be much higher and sunk slowly.
Yeah, okay, so...
Do you think that's real? What do you think?
I feel like if I go to this other screen over here that I have, Dan, and I type in, can coral exist beneath 150 feet of water? I feel like it's gonna say yes.
Well, what he said was it was probably higher. Like the probably is doing a lot of work in there.
It's doing quite a lot of
I
work.
looked this up. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. I'll be honest. I tried to find this one. I don't know. I think I don't know where this one comes from. This one is beyond my skill.
This is just some random.
There's some random bullshit. I think it's to justify. This might tie into some Easter Island bullshit. Because
there's a lot.
There's like submerged city stuff. I think that's what's going on. But anyway, yeah, they saw some coral.
They saw a shit ton of coral, and like
if they were able to see it,
the way that he presented it almost made it sound like some people went to Easter Island, like jumped off the side of it like for 10 minutes and just looked at the floor and were like, well, that's crazy. Like, did nobody ever follow it up and just go check it out? Like, that doesn't make any sense. We didn't
have fucking scuba divers in 1910.
Yeah, we did
so
not.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
I think he just means
really
people literally dive down. And they're like, yeah, I saw some coral down there. Okay, what the fuck does that tell me? I don't know.
If a person was diving down,
yeah,
it doesn't
That's
matter.
the level we're dealing with. Anyway, let's keep going.
Probably more important, they also found the exact same fauna and flora from the Hawaiian Islands all the way to the Easter Islands. This is a great distance, but if you look at a map, you'll see a long string. That string, according to Thoth, used to run along the western shores of Lemuria. It is only on these islands that have the same flora and fauna. Same trees, bugs, bacteria, everything. Science can
everything. Same trees, flora, bacteria, everything.
Everything. He's just looking at a modern day map of like Southeast Asia, like the various archipelagos and whatnot. And he's like, well, that kind of sort of looks like this bullshit that I drew on another map. Like, probably the right place. Like, why of all the places would that? It just doesn't make any sense.
This is his claim. His claim is, look, we find his claim is literally the exact same birds,
right,
fauna and things on this island that we do on this island. So therefore, they were together as part of the same island.
Well, okay, but that's
in more recent history. That's
so first off, like, that's not super crazy, right? We have that with like mineral deposits and stuff from like the continents breaking apart and all of that. Like, that's not particularly, intense. Also, we actually do have a pretty good understand. And again, maybe when this came out, we didn't have all of this, that's for sure. But like we know about the very established trade routes between those distant islands for a long time now, because that's just what we do as peoples. And like, yeah, sometimes we take birds with us and plants and shit. And sometimes,
fucking Lemuria. You understand?
I mean, there is another crazy possibility too, Dan, and that's just, I know it might be out there, but I'm pretty sure 1,000 years ago birds could fly. So,
well, okay, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they can always make a distance that far.
No, that's fair. I get it, but we do know birds can travel an insane distance.
Birds can travel. There are a lot of going back to real history here. Okay. There are a lot of places where animals and fauna and stuff exist between island chains, and we're not exactly sure. There's like raft theory, for example. This kind of stuff. It's kind of makeshift explanations. We don't always have a complete picture or understanding as to why, but the point is they're not exactly the fucking same on these islands. In fact, a lot of times they're named specifically for the birds that are only like on this island, for example, and don't appear in other places because they are distinct enough. So,
and wasn't that kind of the thing about like Darwin and his fucking finches or whatever?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
So it's fine.
Yeah, a lot of
let's keep going. We still got
only
we got to keep going.
Explain this if there were closer land bridges between these islands at one point. Although we were studying this at that time, World War I began soon after, and we lost interest in spirituality and the ancient lands for a very long time.
Okay. So again, I just want to point out, apparently everybody that participated in World War I was like, fuck fuck God, fuck spirituality. Actually, and we're done with this.
I
shit.
genuinely like that hypothesis there. That it was like, oh man, we would have done this shit.
We would have done some more
But like,
shit.
man, we just all got super excited with killing each other. Because like there is part of you that's just like, well, that does feel fairly human. But then there's also that other part of you that just goes like, wait, what the fuck? What are you fucking talking about, man?
That fucking, if they didn't fucking kill that Archduke.
Yeah, man. Like, do you
It
know
weren't
of
for old
any?
Franz Ferdinand, we'd be meditating on spiritual level 7 right now.
Exactly. In the 7th dimension. So, like, do you know of anything whatsoever in the historical record of somebody being like, man, I was looking deep into this Atlantis shit, and then like, oh no, World War, started happening. Like, do you know of anything like that? I genuinely don't think that's out there.
Oh, well, it's funny you say that, because he will describe more examples of this actually very explicitly within the narrative.
All right.
Aliashana Silverbro gave another $5 and said, I'm not asking you to go through the video faster, just to spend more time on it. More Zadanza. I'm loving SR being a guest tonight. Okay, well, I hear you, but like, we are spending a lot of time on this video, so now I'm confused.
It is a frustrating.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure what you want.
I will say this, Aliashana, or should I call you Silverbow? If at the end of this Zadanza episode, we have not sufficiently covered as much of this video as you want, I might allow Dan to subject me to torture like this in the future if he ever wants to. Okay.
Hell yeah.
So I will make sure that whoever out there does not have enough of this crap in their life, I will serve it to you if that's your thing. I don't. Yeah. You got some weird audience members, man.
Well, first of all, don't call my audience members weird.
I'm sorry.
They're here. They listen. They love it. Okay, they're here. They're on the ride. They could have left. We still got 80 people watching right now, so they can go on their own accord. We're doing this shit. You understand? It's happening.
I know.
This is what happens when Zod's not here.
Thanks, Zod. Thanks, Zod.
If you want to blame anybody, blame Zod. It's all about the Dan eclipse is happening. The spirit of Dan Nibiru, Dan Biru. This is the Dan Biru cataclysm happening right now, and I'm here for it. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
After the sinking of Lemuria and the rising of Atlantis, at first the human race became scattered. We moved to various islands and continents all over the world because we didn't have a home. Yet, we didn't know where to go. At that time, there were about 1,000 humans at a very high consciousness, more than all of the rest. They were called the Nakals.
Does he explain that? Where the 1,000 humans came from on this fucking rock that just showed up out of nowhere?
Yes. I forgot, because I do have another video that talks about it kind of more, but it will. But I don't know. I wanted to at least get to 10 minutes on this video, so there's some lore. There's some more lore. Here.
Today we know them as ascended masters. The Nakals began preparing Atlantis to be our new home. They projected their energies across the surface of the continent in the form of the Tree of Life, not with 10 circles, but with 12. An extra on top on the island of Udal, and an extra on the.
You know about the Tree of Life.
No, I don't want to.
No, the Tree of Life is an ancient Judean sort of symbol of esotericism, like esoteric magic sort of sigil. It allegedly comes from multiple cultures. But I believe it is quite Jewish in origin, if I'm not mistaken. I also know this because of Neon Genesis Evangelion, because they do use this symbol quite a bit in the opening intro. If you know where they're doing the na 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 na. Okay, so and they show a bunch of stuff. One of the things they show is the Tree of Life, because that show is based on like. Basically, they found every single weird esoteric Jewish
and
Christian
put it all,
thing and put it in that show.
I've never watched it all the way through, but I've heard that it does that and it's good. So
that's right. And Shivers also said the symbol is in Full Metal Alchemist as well. So we are reaching anime territory on this show.
I've definitely seen Full Metal Alchemist.
Really? I feel like you would love it. I feel like you would really like it. Also, Shiver says Ascended Masters, my new porn name, which is a great porn name. Shivers.
Seriously. Yeah, that's good. Damn.
All right. So I know it's a lot to keep up with, but we're talking about
trying so hard.
Simples. Let's keep going.
Bottom in the water. There were 10 components on the mainland, and even though it extended over hundreds of miles on the surface, it was projected to the accuracy of a single atom. We chose to move to Atlantis because of the Kundalini. In humans, the Kundalini is often referred to as the energy serpent that runs up and down your spine.
Sure.
When activated, it provides an immense amount of energy through all of the chakras. The Earth itself also
Makes
has a
your butthole
Kundalini
hot.
because the Earth is alive, like an organism, running from the center of the planet to a specific place on the surface. Wherever the Kundalini resides, the people there become the spiritual leaders of the world. The Earth chose Atlantis.
Yeah, Kundalini, that's a yoga thing.
Right.
Kundalini.
Yeah.
No idea about the whole running through the spine of the Earth.
Yeah.
Does
a ball have a spine? Is that how that works? I don't
question. I don't
feel
know.
like, yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know. But yeah, some spine energy shit.
I don't-
You know, it's a little bit outside of my depth, but it's a yoga thing.
I don't know if I would say I feel like I'm getting dumber while watching this. You know how when you watch some videos, it's like you can tell that your intelligence is dropping? I kind of feel like what's happening is almost like how I've heard it described when you go into like hypothermia, where everything just starts to get like numb, you know, and you kind of just don't care anymore, and you're just like ready for the release of death. Is that...
Damn. Okay, I didn't realize I was going to cause you to want to kill yourself.
No,
Elliot. I mean,
not what
Jesus.
I'm
I mean,
saying. That's not what I'm
I thought we were just having a good time watching some fucking spirit science. I thought I wanted to learn about the history of people. I didn't want you to.
It's breaking me down, man.
Transcend your fucking consciousness right now. I want you on this spiritual plane right now. Okay.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm just
Okay.
saying.
Right.
Like it's hitting me, man. All right, we got more. Let's
This
do
would be
it.
more enjoyable if I was smoking weed, probably.
yeah.
I
We're
think
just
this would
completely
be an
blazed
awesome
out of
thing
our
to watch
mind.
by.
Oh my god, yeah.
Anyway.
To be the new energetic center of the planet. After Atlantis, the Kundalini moved to the mountains of Tibet, which is why the Buddhists were the leaders in pure spirituality for the last 13,000 years. It was a very pure place. It moved again within the last 10 years, but that's a story for another time. If you want to read more, check out the book The Serpent of Light by Drunvalo Melchizedek.
Drunvalo Melchizedek.
Yeah.
What do you think of that name, first of all?
It's good. That's awesome.
Good name, right? That's a fucking awesome name.
If it's like a real name and like they didn't just like change their name at some point or something like that was.
You think they were born Drunvalo Melchizedek?
You know, Dan, I don't want to live in a world where somebody couldn't be born Drunvalo Melchizedek, you know?
Well, it's funny. We were literally talking about Melchizedek last week on our Dave Ramsey episode. So obviously this is a pen name. It's not real. Basically a grifter, bullshit grifter.
Right.
Known for, again, they all come in kind of these circles, right? Like they all exist in these weird things. His Wikipedia describes him as an esoteric researcher, which is fucking awesome. I want that on my, if I ever get a Wikipedia. I have a YouTube wiki. There's a YouTube wiki page of me. Somebody made it me. Please, if you want to cite something, please cite this video and describe me as an esoteric researcher, please. Whoever can take the time. I would love that. But yeah, he's one of those new age fucking bullshit people. Talks about sacred geometry and all that bullshit. So,
all right.
Not much more. No. There's obviously a million things you can go into that direction, but we need to keep going.
Suddenly, in a single day, the Nicals breathed life into the Tree of Life on the surface of Atlantis. This created vortexes of energy rotating out of each and every circle. Once the vortexes were established, the children of Lemuria began to be called forth.
So you like how they drew the fucking
each and every circle. Once the
fucking Hobbit home.
I was gonna say it's like the fucking Shire. That's like
I have no idea if
Shire
this is
out
in
of
this
nowhere.
book, or if this was just like a obviously it's referencing Lord of the Rings, but I don't know if this is like a tongue-in-cheek thing or if he thinks that they were more akin to hobbits
also
in their lifestyle.
I thought, are the Lemurians are not people? They're not humans?
They're the descendants of humans.
And
They're
the
original
humans are the Nicals?
Humans aren't there yet. Yeah,
humans aren't here yet.
These are spiritual ascended masters.
These are totally different. Beings. Humans will show up.
Humans will show up.
Okay, so the Nicals sneezed or whatever into the Tree of Life, and then it made vortexes that Lemurians came.
You see, Elliot, when you are ascended spiritually, when you get to other levels of consciousness, you're actually able to manipulate energy on a very direct level. He alluded to this at the very beginning, if you recall, right, where he could have psychic connections with people. So these people are so spiritually attuned that they could actually manipulate matter with their minds.
Okay.
is what's happening.
So that's all right. Well, that's good to know. That's my problem. I just I can't because I'm not interdimensional.
It's a lot of and you know what's sad about this, Elliot?
Yeah,
is that like I didn't have to look up all of this before. Like there was some of this stuff.
I'm glad you did.
No, it makes me. It's like, why is my head full of this bullshit?
Yeah,
like, why do I know? You know what I mean? Like I did have to do some research, but like a lot of this again, it's just drawing from the same kind of wells. If you've seen some of this stuff, you definitely see patterns. So
okay. And that's good to know in case I ever come across it again and somebody just casually mentions Lemuria or something. But I think it's good. What you do is you're like, you're kind of like that anti-hero that does all the bad stuff, and you take the, you take on that kind of role so that others don't have to sully themselves.
I guess so. I worry about my mental health.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I worry about it too, but
I worry about why can't I remember how to do like things for my job, but I can tell you about the Lemuria. You know what I mean? Like what?
It's because you're on a higher level of
I'm on a higher level of consciousness, maybe. I'm spiritually ascended.
Oh my god. You're basically a 6th dimensional being or whatever.
Yeah. I'm on that I'm smoking that Nibiru shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm up there.
Shit.
That that Amanaki Kush. I'm on it.
Oh my
Let's
god.
Go. All right,
build a pyramid.
Vortexes were established, the children of Lemuria began to be called forth. Millions upon millions of Lemurians who had settled all across the planet began to be pulled toward Atlantis. A great migration began. However, the Lemurian body of consciousness had only reached the age.
What?
Were there other like beings other than the Nicals and the Lemurian? Like, did they talk to anybody?
Well, remember they were there was like 1,000 of them, but they were all spread out across the earth. So now they're coming together.
Okay, and they must have banged a lot because we went from 1,000 to like million.
We'll actually get there, I think.
Yeah, we will. Okay, that's cool.
Sort of. Well, yeah.
Age of 12 as a planetary consciousness. Because we were right-brained, we were a female species, like a 12-year-old girl. And some of our centers weren't working yet. They had worked with these energies, but only mastered 8 of the 10.
What?
Each migrating Lemurian was attracted to one of these 8 centers on Atlantis.
You picking up what he's putting down so far? So
I'm not. No, I don't think so. I just want to ask something real quick.
Yeah.
Right-brained. So we're like a girl? We're like a
It's really funny because
a little girl?
What's interesting is he recently made a video about trans people. And it was actually like really open to gender expression, but it completely contradicts like this view of like, again, this idea that so allegedly like right-brained people are more creative and stuff, and like this is associated with the feminine, and the left-brained people are more logical, which is supposedly allegedly defined with the masculine, right? According to some cultures. Okay. Or not really cultures. They don't really know about that left brain, right brain shit. That's just what people, again, are ascribing to people. So like, so because these people were emotionally in tune, they were consciously equivalent to a 12-year-old girl.
That makes sense.
Yeah. This is all according to this book, by the way, which I haven't read.
Holy shit.
I want to know what Melchizedek was smoking.
Do you think you could find this book in a way where you didn't have to support, no money or anything would go to the
Spirit Science is doing the hard work for me and reading this shit.
He's bringing it to us,
He's bringing it to me. It's that, it's pretty.
Depending on the nature of the individual, there they settled and began to build cities. That left 2 vortexes with nobody using them, not a single person. These 2 vortexes were pulling life toward them, and in life, you can't have an empty place. Life will find a way to fill it. Similar to
just like your mom, am I right?
I don't understand what he's saying. I don't understand what he's saying right now.
I understand. It's maybe we're getting to a point where it's getting a bit harder. Cities were built.
These energy vortexes are attracting life to it.
Correct. Their life finds a way.
Yeah,
according to Jeff Goldblum.
That was pretty
so good. And Spirit Science and Melchizedek Drunvalo Melchizedek, which is kind of a baller name. I'm not hating on the name. It's kind of awesome. I want to be a part of the blunt rotation of Drunvalo Melchizedek. And
yeah. Again, it's a good name. It is a good name.
Sounds like a cool vampire.
Oh, I could see a vampire. Yeah.
Lord Melchizedek.
Definitely somebody that walks
The energy
with a
vortexes. They're empty.
yeah, definitely somebody that walks with like a cane that they definitely don't need and probably couldn't support their weight. You know what I'm saying? Like it's clearly just for show.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, a lot of things happening there. Anyway, yeah, I do want to get to at least a few more minutes in if you can stomach it.
I can. Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm here.
So if you are driving along a freeway, following another car, and you drop too far behind, someone will fill the place. That's exactly what happened on Atlantis. Though the Lemurians had only filled 8 of the vortex areas, Mayan records state clearly that there were 10 cities in Atlantis when it fell. You can see these records in the Troano document, which is now located in the British Museum.
The Mayans told us about Atlantis, don't you know?
I'm just going to be honest. I've never come across this information, Dan. That is particularly surprising to me. So
yeah,
cool.
Well, I had neither until I looked at this video. Again, there's nothing ever of it talking about Atlantis.
Okay.
No, that's
nothing.
It's a Greek. Atlantis is a Greek concept. It's not a Mayan thing.
Yeah.
Fucking Plato and shit was talking about Atlantis. I think it was Plato.
Yeah.
Because they have like ideas that Atlantis was like a real city and then it fell into the ocean. Like that's kind of where that idea comes from. But again, they're just kind of taking basically pictures that Mayans have made and just kind of writing their own fan fiction.
That looks like an island. That looks like water. So fuck it, Atlantis.
And the Mayans know this for some reason.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, got it.
Yep. Document is estimated.
By the way, he has a that little symbol there on his little podium is a geosacred symbol. I couldn't remember what it's called though. I probably could Google reverse image search it, but it's like Circle of Life or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Okay. All right.
You know about sacred geometry.
Sure. Yeah.
We all love some good sacred geometry.
Oh, who doesn't?
500 years old, and it describes in detail the sinking of Atlantis. To fill these 2 empty vortexes, according to Thoth, 2 extraterrestrial races stepped in. Not 1, but 2 completely different races. The first race were the Hebrews, coming from our future. Thoth says that they came from off-planet, but we don't know where exactly. The Hebrews were kind of like a kid who went through...
Yeah.
Futuristic space Jews.
We're talking about space Jews, baby.
All right. Well, we've done it. We've hit it.
I mean,
wow.
This is what, yeah. I told you. It's got some stuff you're not gonna expect. Space.
Where
Jews.
did they come from?
We don't know. Thoth didn't tell us. They're space Jews.
And they came from our future? Like when he says our future, is he talking about like our future as humans, meaning like way thousands of years in the past for like you and me now? Is he saying like ancient Israelites?
Remember, time is just another dimension.
Fuck me, I guess. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Be manipulated if you're on a spiritual high level. So I also want to point out, though, it's a good stopping point too, because he's quoting Thoth again.
Right.
So I have no idea where, because part of it is allegedly based on this book, which I've never actually read myself, and I don't really plan on it, and also this English spiritual channeler guy. So I guess one is kind of riffing off of the other. And he's just kind of putting some stuff together. I'm not sure. But yeah, space Jews are involved.
Jesus.
And let's see how let's go back a second. Look how they're describing the space Jews.
To fill these 2 empty vortexes, according to Thoth, 2 extraterrestrial races stepped in. Not 1, but 2 completely different races. The first race were the Hebrews, coming from our future. Thoth says that they came from off-planet, but we don't know where exactly. The Hebrews were kind of like a kid who went through 5th grade and didn't make it, so they had to do that grade over again. They learned all the math, the left brain stuff, but they didn't get the right brain aspect of evolving consciousness, the doing. They didn't graduate to the next level of evolution, so they had to do it again. They knew a lot of things that we didn't know yet and brought many concepts and ideas to us.
Yeah.
So they went back in time to another planet, or
they were basically, they couldn't get to the next level. First of all, we're talking about an entire race of people.
Right.
I just want to make that clear.
Right. Right.
And because they couldn't get to the next level, they're on Earth. They're on like level 4 of a video game. They couldn't get to level 5. That's kind of what's happening here. So you'll see this a lot, Elliot, in extraterrestrial communities. Where they talk about races as if they're like individual people. Like they're very okay with just making very large blanket statements about races. Like Pleiadians, for example, I mentioned that earlier, a very popular sort of alien mythos, because they're like supposed to be these light people. They're kind of
Pleiades, like from that in space, like the Pleiadians are from they're extraterrestrials, right? They're from okay.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about like another. This is another race of alien people that people talk about. Well, because like that one's a very popular one in extraterrestrial communities or UFO communities, because they're like supposed to be these slender, sort of elegant. They're kind of like Lord of the Rings elves, you know. But like they always describe these races again in just like these really blanket terms. And also, can we also point out the fact that they're implying that Hebrew people are not the same kind of humans as we are?
Yeah, basically. So that was exactly what they were saying. They were basically saying Jews are aliens from who failed grade 5 or whatever.
Right. But can still, I guess,
weird.
Stick around with the rest of us, you know, very
just because, I guess. Yeah.
This won't infantilize a people group or draw comparisons to stereotypes.
Pretty sure there's no problems with that. Yeah. Don't think that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No. To us that we weren't aware of yet. Now, if this is true, this would explain quite a few things about the Hebrew people in general. They seem to have many sacred geometries hidden within their culture. It also puts perspective on the story of Exodus. Perhaps Moses incarnated into that lifetime to free the Hebrews because they were not direct descendants of humans.
Used Disney movie. They just straight up
did.
Used it.
Yeah, he did.
They gave no shits. They were just like, fuck it,
Prince
of Egypt, man.
He was like, this is a good documentary.
Man, they got this shit so good. You know what? You know what? That's the only two things. He read that one book from that guy Stitchins, and he watched Prince of Egypt, and he was like, I figured it out. I know.
Yeah, he's like, Jewish people, you know, they're really good at they're right brain, they're logical. They got shapes and shit. Is what he's saying.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right.
Really cool, huh?
It's great.
And we're being treated unfairly. Or could it be that Moses was visited by an ascended master of the Hebrews who guided him to free their people?
Right.
Given what we know about dimensions and consciousness, it definitely puts a fresh perspective on old stories that didn't make much sense. We could talk about this more.
Yeah, this definitely makes more sense.
Yeah, given what Dan, given what we know about dimensions.
Well, given what we know about dimensions and consciousness, yeah, of course. That would be my academic opinion as well.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Imagine going to like a summit. Like a scholarship summit like in Israel, and they're talking about, you know, scholarship on the Old Testament and the story of Moses, and you just come up there and they're like, I think Moses was probably in ascended space.
Like, I'm pretty sure I hear what you're saying now, but I just have to say,
Egypt, and I
time traveling alien space Jews. I don't know what else to tell you. If that doesn't make sense to you, it's your fault, not mine.
Yeah.
I've been super clear about what I'm talking about.
So it's almost 10:30 my time. I know that I said I want to get to 10 minutes. We still got another 2. I mean, you know, how are you feeling, Elliot?
I am willing. To spend as long as necessary to
a little bit more. We're squeezing this time in.
But let's continue for now. There were no problems caused by the Hebrews coming to Atlantis. They actually benefited our evolution.
Yeah.
The other race that stepped in caused big problems.
That's
These
right.
beings came from the nearby planet of Mars.
Yep.
See, according to Thoth, Mars looked very much like Earth a little less than a million years ago. It was beautiful. It had oceans and water and trees that were just fantastic. But something happened to them, and it has to do with something called the Lucifer experiment.
Holy shit.
From the very beginning of creation, everything is simply an experiment. Creation itself was just consciousness creating and inhabiting itself in that creation. There is no divine plan. Spirit can do whatever it wants. Having said that, if Spirit decides to cut itself off from the rest of consciousness and create a separate reality on its own, it can do that too. This is called the Lucifer experiment. Because Spirit is God, it can do this. There is nothing wrong with that. We've kind of been led to believe that Lucifer is evil and the devil. This just isn't true. Lucifer is just another means of perceiving the reality. It is not a unity perception of oneness, but rather a duality perception of two-ness. There's a flower of life pattern for Lucifer as well.
That is the flower of life.
For another time.
I forgot.
Anytime the Lucifer experiment has been attempted in the universe, it always ends in failure. The species will cut itself off from love and will become incredibly male, left-brained.
Yeah.
What always ends up happening is that everyone becomes very greedy. There is no compassion for one another, and everyone ends up fighting until they end up killing themselves.
Yep.
More than 1 million years ago, the beings on Mars joined the Lucifer experiment, and it failed dramatically. Basically, they cut themselves off from the unity of the universe and created a separate reality.
Yeah.
When the Martians severed the
On
love
Mars.
bond, they became pure male, logical beings with no emotions. What happened on
Vulcan
Mars was
symbol.
that they ended up fighting. Mars became a battleground. Eventually, it became clear that Mars was not going to
Said it.
survive. They blew their atmosphere away and destroyed the surface of the planet.
Yep.
Nova recently did.
And he's going to talk about some magnetic fields and shit. So okay, so long story short, Martians nuked Mars
because they were entirely male, logical, and cut off from love.
They cut themselves off from the
and
unity.
so that obviously leads one in a societal sense to just enact, I don't know, I guess genocide on oneself. Even is that what he's saying? Like he's saying they fought so much that they ended up just killing themselves. It's just,
and then will eventually come to invade
and
the
come
Earth.
to
But
Earth.
That is,
And that's where the space
time.
Jews and the Martians meet.
Yep, and have spiritual sex.
Well,
I think I'm joking, but that's kind of also a thing.
I know there may have been moments where it didn't feel like I was having a good time, Dad. I promise you, I very much did.
Yeah.
I feel really tired for some, like, I feel like I just want to sleep for a while, you know? And it's like, this took a lot out of me, man. I don't know. Maybe like there is something to that Kundalini.
It's because
spine
you're being exposed to spiritual truths,
and that's why.
And your consciousness is like a 12-year-old girl.
That's it.
Elliot. It's not. It's
That's
not fully there. So sounds like a skill issue.
It's a me thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly, truly, I failed just like the space Jews did, and you know, that's nice. That's cool. It's just good company, I guess.
And again, I think most people that watch this at least find this entertaining. Probably don't take it too seriously, but there's definitely people whose life changed because of this video.
That
is 5 million
is
views, and there's definitely like some of the top comments still to this day are people saying like, "This is wow, this is like really important to me," or like, "Oh yeah, I remember this. This kind of started me on a spiritual journey and stuff." Like you can see it on this video. And I don't know, that irks me, I guess. It's hard to do critique of this stuff because it's so scattered and it's kind of everywhere. And like when we do critiques of Christianity, we can tend to find similar sources of information. At least if you don't get too deep in the weeds with scholarship, you can at least look at the same damn book that everybody else is looking at. But this stuff borrows from multiple books, multiple people, multiple sort of evidences, I guess, that just kind of get altered and twisted into these stories. And it's so scattershot. It's so individual. It's really hard to kind of talk about this. So that's why I've always kind of been interested in discussing this kind of stuff, because this still matters, I think, in how people live their lives. It's still ideologically motivated in some way to tell this kind of stories and interpret history in the way that it is. It is racist in some ways. It says the ancient people can't actually build these things or do these things, or these cultures can't exist legitimately. They have to have some sort of alien benefactor, or they didn't dominate civilization like they do today, but they were more spiritually aware, which is also kind of false. I don't know if any particular civilization had any more spiritual consciousness than any other, but like, it's I don't know. I like sharing this stuff because the rabbit holes get really, really deep.
Well, but, I think that is fun, is to hear about and see the connections as to like, oh, that's why he's mentioning Atlantis out of nowhere. You know, that's why he's mentioning Thoth out of nowhere. It's like, what the fuck does this Egyptian, asshole have to do with anything? It's some random mythological character or whatever, but no, actually it's important, it's this type of content is important because in this space of trying to care about epistemology, trying to care about what we say as and believe as being the most accurate things that we can know about the world around us. Like this type of content is so difficult to debunk because like what were exactly his claims? Like Jews came from the future through space to live in Atlantis? Like,
yeah, I think that's pretty much it, actually.
Where do you start? Where do you start with that? Like, what do you just start with the basics of time travel's not real? I don't know that would.
It always goes back to the Jews, though, doesn't it?
It does. It does, man. Them and their space stuff. You know what, though? Okay, so here's the thing. Recently, some people have been talking about the potential lasers that the Jews have put into space.
You say people, I think it's one person.
It is, you're right. It's like one person that is just definitely not thinking very clearly. And I guess all I'm saying, because that's obvious nonsense, folks. If you don't know that, that's complete garbage. Yeah. I'm just saying, if the Jews did technically travel through time and space thousands of years ago, like the likelihood of them having a laser now is more plausible, right? I mean, do you feel like that would lend any? I'm so sorry, Dan.
I don't know.
If we knew for sure that they've been traveling through time for thousands of years,
okay. The real answer is, yeah. Later in the story, they've fallen in spiritual consciousness.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. You're acting. I watched this whole fucking thing. Okay, I know what's good. I know what's happening. It's there's a lot of lore. I'm not gonna pretend like I understand it all, but like I'm also like, it's also. I mean, this video is pretty old. I remember seeing this back in the day too. And you know, these ideas have kind of been around in one form or another for a while. But yeah, I mean, like. The point is, I think this is a reinterpretation for a modern audience to base their own spirituality on, right? Like this is for people who never quite fit into church, but maybe call themselves spiritual, but thought Christianity was maybe too, restrictive or whatever. Maybe interested in Eastern ideas, maybe interested in other kinds of ideas, didn't quite, but, never read anything about it, never done that research. Well, here's somebody kind of giving all that for them in a way that makes sense. Somehow the syncretism of it all, I think, makes it more plausible for some people because, we're taking all these stories, and how could all of these stories exist if there wasn't some truth to some of them? And this is what that does. So it is fulfilling a particular niche.
I totally agree with you there. The way that the story is presented is in such a way that I get why people watch that and go, wow, there's something to this, because he's very confident. He's seemingly making these, disparate connections that other people hasn't thing. It's just that like when you actually go fucking look into it in the slightest, it just falls apart instantly, but who's gonna do that? Like,
and you don't want to appear like you're not open-minded.
Yeah, true. Anything, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
According to some people, we as atheists are spiritually closed.
Yeah, well, I feel like my life has been pretty fucking fine. So
yeah, I don't know. My fucking Kundalini's pretty good.
Yeah, it's doing fucking great. Yeah. So far so good. I don't know where I don't know if the head's up here or down near my butthole, but either way, I scratch it every so often, I guess. But anywho.
Yeah.
This was great. Seriously, I really did have fun. I don't want to seem
because Zod would never let me do this bullshit.
Yeah, well, good. I'm happy. I'm thrilled that I could help with that. I'm insanely sorry, Zod, and I just hope that this doesn't taint your view of me or anything. I didn't know exactly where we were going. Dan sent me a message and I was like, yeah, man, you're awesome. And Zod's awesome. And so I'm sorry, man. It's just but at least you didn't have to do it. I guess that's something, right?
That's true.
That's
true. It had to happen.
It
had to happen. I had to get it out. So next week, folks, Sidney Davis Jr. is planning to appear. We will not be doing something spirit science.
Yeah, that'll be That'll be some better stuff
I'll
for sure. Yeah.
I'll do. First of all, this I like tonight. I like talking about all this dumb bullshit. I think it's just fine. It does kind of like
you do get really tickled about this stuff too. Like that is just a genuine. Yeah, that is just a genuine. I love when you first told me about Coco the gorilla. I will never forget that story when you were just like, "Let me tell you, Elliot," and like 20 minutes of and it completely changed everything. That gorilla was not doing sign language, y'all. No. That was bullshit. Like it wasn't happening. Like, yes, the world may be a little less special for you, but at least you're intellectually honest. So
yeah, Coco the gorilla was a fraud, and
a fraud.
Really not Coco. It was really the researchers involved.
Yeah, the gorilla probably didn't have anything.
The gorilla was fine.
Marketing. Yeah, it was probably...
but their ancestor eventually led to the changing of our times. That being,
that's good.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Little gorilla that got shot that shouldn't have.
You're talking about hang on, you're talking about Harambe.
Yeah, I think it all ties back to Harambe. I don't think how awesome would that be if Coco the gorilla was related to Harambe?
Oh my god, that just my brain would implode.
That would be awesome. I'm lying.
God.
That's not real.
Yeah,
but how cool would that be? I would maybe be a 1% spiritual that day.
I was definitely not expecting like a Stan Harambe moment.
A lot of people think that the events of 2016 and onward, like America's sort of spiritual, shift, our shift in consciousness, all happened from the death of Harambe.
What was wasn't there a lion too? Wasn't there like a lion that was like?
I don't remember that.
Oh man, I don't know. We're not going to go through it all.
There is one lion.
There is
a warrior. He's chosen.
Jesus Christ.
He is chosen.
Oh my god! If I wake up tomorrow with that song in my head, you will be getting a fucking message, man. That's all I'm saying. Hey. I'm not telling you what's in that message just yet, but you will be getting a message.
Hey, send that to the big man upstairs. All right, that's not. Don't shoot the messenger. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
All right, let's wrap things up, folks. Thanks for having fun with me tonight. I at least had a good time. Great. And also, oh man, I missed some super chats real quick. Well, I did. Well, just in the last few minutes, actually, they came up before the end here. Punk Metal Tau gave another $2 and said, "When does?" Oh, let me put it on screen. When does he talk about Zodonites coming to power? Which is true. They should have talked about the Zodonites. When do me and Zod get in there?
What's the next episode?
I would love for him to make an episode just about us. Maybe April Fools. I'll message him, see if that happens. Just kidding. Not really. And Aliashana Silverbow gave another $5. She said, $5 more for a return of SR and a joke. I was kidnapped by mimes once. They did unspeakable things to me.
Oh, that's good.
That is a pretty good joke.
Kidnapped by mimes.
I love that.
Things. That is good. That is really good.
Yeah. That's gonna be it for tonight's Zadanza, folks. Look forward to next week again. Sidney Davis Jr. We will talk about something completely different. And I can't wait to see what Zod has to say about my job.
I'm so
running
sorry.
Things so far. But until then, I'm gonna play the outro. What's our sign off tonight? Elliot, you get to decide. What's our sign off? We always do like a.
Oh, I get to decide.
Yeah.
Don't be concerned about futuristic space Jews or Martian children that want to nuke the world. Thanks. Is that a good sign?
Prophet Elliot of the Zodonites.
You can take that to the bank.
Take that
or Lemuria, your choice, I guess.
Or Lemuria. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. La 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 la, la casa del merengue. La 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 la, y la casa de la bachata.